Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday. It is the 20th day of July 2023. I hope you're safe and healthy on this Thursday and that your family's safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field who, along with the first responders, are every day saving lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage to keep places clean and disease-free, and those that make deliveries of important things like food and water and mail for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims of pornography and child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators of these things. Double curses on the profiteers of these things. Double curses on the perverts who create these things. Finally, blessings, double blessings on the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children homeless in the streets of the United States right now. And millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So yesterday, as you saw, I did a comparison of Grimes and Fournier. And I got back a few of y'all that was, making sorry excuse. This is the thing. There's reasons and there's excuses. Reasons are good excuses. Excuses, well, they're just bad excuses. So some of you were making the excuse for Evan Fournier that the reason he sucked so bad the year before last is because he didn't get to play with Jalen Brunson. So what I did, I took this last season and I chose 7 categories and I compared, and all of these, games, Fournier was by and large playing with Brunson. He might have played with Quickly a little bit. And I compared Grimes and Fournier this past season based on them playing with mostly Jalen Brunson. And I actually had a little fun and added Deuce Mcbride in there. I wanted to see what Deuce Mcbride would do in these 7 categories because we know that Fournier, he actually played in more games than Deuce did. Well, not really. He started more games than Deuce did. Deuce only started 2 games this past season. Fournier started 7 games this past season. Okay, so Fournier started 7 games. Deuce started 2 games. And of course, we know that Grimes started 66 games. Grimes actually played in 70 games. He didn't start all the games because, as you remember, he was coming back from a foot injury. And to begin, when he was coming back, Tibbs didn't bring him back to the starting lineup immediately. He would ease him in off the bench. So there were 7 categories. Games started, what's the record? Games where player shoots over 40% from 3, what's the record? And then I checked it up a little bit because of the amount of games that Fournier played and Deuce played to make it more even. So I said the games that they scored in double figures, not games that they had 20 or 30 points, but the games they scored in double figures. Because Fournier didn't have any games where he scored 20 points, because, I guess that was the situation. So I didn't want to compare that. I just compared games he had double figures in. Games he played at least 18 minutes, him, Grimes, and Deuce. Games they appeared in, but they didn't start. Okay, just the total number of games they appeared in that they didn't start. The games they missed, what was the record when they missed the game? And what was the record when the player shot at least 80% from the free throw line? Because we know a lot of times last year the Knicks had some problems from the free throw line. So these are 7 categories. And some of y'all, they were not, but a couple of idiots had the nerve to say the numbers were manipulated. Just say you don't know numbers. It's okay, to say what you don't understand. It's cool. We don't all understand everything, obviously. I happen to know numbers, okay? So somebody to say the numbers were manipulated was not only disrespectful, it just shows that you're ignorant about what numbers are. These numbers are not manipulated. Games started, greater than 40% from 3, double figures, 18 minutes per game, games you just appeared in, even if you didn't start, games you missed, games you shot at least 80% from the foul line. So these are straight numbers. And again, I want to stress, these are numbers I chose that affect the most important stat of all, wins. Okay? How many wins do we get? See? So that's what this is about. So now we have Grimes, Deuce, and Fournier. Okay, so let's take a look at the 7 categories for each player. So the game started. We went through this with Grimes yesterday. He started 66 games. The Knicks were 40-26 when Grimes started. 61% of their wins. Fournier started 7 games for the Knicks. The Knicks were 3-4. They won 43% of their games that Fournier started. Deuce only started 2 games. They were 1-1, almost like, whatever. So they were 500 when Deuce started. So let's talk about games where the player shot at least 40% from 3. This is especially on a 2 guard, which Grimes and Fournier are. This is a very important stat for any 2 guard, right? So Grimes shot 40% from 3, 31 games last year. And the Knicks were 18-13 or won 58% of their games. Fournier shot 40% or better from 3 in 7 games. And again, the Knicks were 3-4 in those games. Deuce shot at least 40% from 3. For y'all talking about Deuce can't shoot. He shot at least 40% from 3 in 17 games last year. And in those 17 games, the Knicks were 11-6. Or they won 65% of their games. That Deuce shot 40% or more. Okay? Games the player scored in double figures. Grimes scored in double figures 36 times last year. The Knicks won 21-15, or 58% of their games they win when Grimes is in double figures. Fournier was in double figures 6 games last year. The Knicks were 2-4, or they won 33% of those games. When Fournier, playing with Brunson now, was over 40% from 3. When Deuce scored in double figures, he did this 5 times last year. The Knicks were 4-1 when Deuce scored double figures, or won 80% of their games where he scored in double figures. So with Grimes, they won 58% of their games. With Fournier, they won 33% of their games. This is with Brunson now. And with Deuce, they win 80% of their games when he scores in double figures. When you player, this is important stat. So when the player gets at least 18 minutes in the game, so that means they were really in the game, right? They weren't just playing a minute or 30 seconds or whatever. They got 18 minutes in the game. So they were involved with the game. In the games in which Grimes played at least 18 minutes, there were 64 games, and the Knicks were 39-25, or won 61% of their games when Grimes played at least 18 minutes. That's on a 49-win pace right there in his second year. Fournier played at least 18 minutes in 13 games last year. The Knicks were 6-7. Winning 46% of their games. They were 6-7 when Fournier played at least 18 minutes with Brunson. Deuce played at least 18 minutes, only 10 games last year, less than both of them. But in the 10 games where Deuce plays at least 18 minutes, the Knicks are 8-2, or win 80% of their games. These are numbers that can't be disputed. Go look it up. I got it from Basketball Reference. Okay, basketballreference.com. So when Deuce plays at least 18 minutes, you understand now why I want Deuce to get more minutes. Why I need him to be in the rotation. When the Knicks play him at least 18 minutes, they win 80% of their games. When he scores double figures, the Knicks win 80% of their games. When he hits at least 40% from 3, they win 65% of their games. In the games that Deuce appeared in, okay, well, let's go with the games that Grimes appeared in. This is his worst stat, actually. This is interesting. He didn't start these games. He appeared in them. So he was coming off the bench. He did that 7 times last year, Quentin Grimes. The Knicks were 2-5, or win 29% of their games when Fournier comes off the bench. So it's obvious he's better as a starter than he is coming off the bench. And this is why I am heavily pro Q Dog. I don't want them to trade him. I don't want nobody coming in for him. I don't care who it is. We got a budding all-star in Quentin Grimes, in my view. So no, I don't need him coming off the bench. I don't need him traded. I need him starting at our 2 guard spot for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Okay. In games that Fournier appeared in, that he didn't start, 27 games, the Knicks are actually 15-12, where he appeared in games but he didn't start, or 56%, which shows, again, Fournier is better coming off the bench than he is starting. Now, some of y'all would say, well, he should have came off the bench for the Knicks. No, he shouldn't. We're going to talk about that in a second. No, he shouldn't. And we'll talk about that. In games where Deuce appeared, he appeared in 64 games. They were 36-28, or won 56% of their games. Okay, same as Fournier in that case. Both of them are better than Grimes because they're both coming off the bench. I still think Deuce could start, but that's for him coming off the bench. In games where Fournier missed games, he missed 11, Grimes. When Grimes missed 11 games last year, the Knicks were 6-5 and won 54% of the games that he missed. When Fournier missed or did not play, it's not necessarily what hurt. Tibbs just didn't play him. 55 games last year. The Knicks were 33-22 when he didn't play. They won 60% of the games he didn't play. Deuce did not appear in 22 games, and the Knicks were 12-10 in the games he didn't appear in, win 55% of their games. So the Knicks are marginally good when Deuce or Grimes don't play, but they're very good when Fournier doesn't play. They win 60% of their games. The last category, games where the player shot at least 80% from the line. Big one for the Knicks, right? So Grimes, in 22 games, he shot at least 80%, and the Knicks won 55% of their games. You expect Fournier to do this a lot because he's a really good shooter, so he did, and he shot more than 80% from the line 5 times, and the Knicks were 3-2 in those games where he shot at least 80% from the free throw line. It was 5 games. Deuce shot 80% from the free throw line 7 times last year. The Knicks were 5-2, or won 71% of their games when Deuce shot at least 80% from the line, which happened 7 times. So let's go over this. But Deuce is, to me, hands down on these stats, greater than 40% from the 3-point line, they're 11-6. Double figures, they're 4-1. Greater than 18 minutes, they're 8-2. Games he appears in, they're 36-28. Games that he shoots at least 80% from the line, they're 5-2. There's no doubt Deuce needs more minutes here. But between Grimes and Fournier playing with Brunson, out of the 7 categories, Fournier was better in 2 of them. Fournier, in games he missed, in games he shot 80% from the line, 5 games, they won 60% of the games because they were 3-2, whereas Grimes was 12-10, 55%. Both of them are good, but you give the edge to Fournier there. In the games he appeared in, 27 games, he shot 56%. He didn't start in those games. They won 56% of their games. They were 15-10. And then they were 2-5 with Grimes coming off the bench, 29% of their games. So Fournier is better coming off the bench than Grimes is. And Fournier slightly has an edge when he shoots 80% from the line. But in every other category, games started, greater than 40% from free. Games they scored double figures. Games they had at least 18 minutes. There's no doubt. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's Grimes. They both play with Brunson. And Fournier, 43% of the games they win, 43%, 33%, 46%. There's no comparison here. Grimes is the better player in every area of basketball than Fournier. Grimes only has played 2 pro seasons. Okay? As did Deuce. Deuce only played 2 pro seasons. Okay, 40% greater from 3, 11-6. Double figures, 4-1. 18 minutes or more, that's the biggest one to me, 8-2. Shoot 80% or better from the line, 5-2. Games he appears in, 36 and 28. We need to get Deuce McBride more minutes. And as I've been saying all along, we need to get Quentin Grimes more touches. Okay? And some people, well, we need to get rid of, no, you don't need to get rid of anybody. You just need to give Grimes more touches. RJ and Julius needs to get less. Brunson's going to get his touches. Everything starts with Brunson. He's the straw that stirs the pot. But we need to run more plays for Grimes. He needs to get more touches, even if it means, so in other words, if you can get him 15 shots and reduce RJ shots by 2 or 3 and reduce Julius shots by 2 or 3, sometimes Julius just comes down and hoists a 3 without passing the basketball. If we can just reduce that and give those shots to Grimes, you will see Grimes put up bigger numbers than RJ, period. And if we can get Deuce in the rotation. So if the Knicks made a trade and they traded either IQ or RJ, okay, they probably won't do it, but if they did, Deuce should just move right up into the rotation, and he needs to get those minutes that are vacated, because the more minutes you give this kid, the better the Knicks are. Okay, period. So, yeah, I don't want to hear any more about Fournier and his $19 million wine. I ain't got no cheese for it. Okay, so all y'all making excuses for him, that was an excuse. See, for example, did Julius Randle stink in the playoffs because of his hurt ankle? Or is he just bad in the playoffs? Is his ankle a reason? Or is it an excuse? Well, I am going to reserve judgment on that until this coming season. Because if he sucks this coming season in the playoffs, then he just sucks in the playoffs. If he balls out this coming season, then somebody could logically make an excuse. Well, his ankle was hurt. First year was his first year in the playoffs. Didn't know what he was doing. The second year, his ankle was hurt. Okay, but if he stinks again this coming playoffs, he just is not a good playoff player. This will be his third trip to the playoffs. So we're gonna see. That's something we're gonna discover this coming season. And all of y'all still pining for Randle to get traded, you need to stop. You're just frustrating yourself. He's not going to be traded at all. Randle is going to be in the opening day roster. He's going to be the opening day starting power forward. They just traded Obi Toppin. Get over that. Okay? Oh, I'm pro Obi. Still in. Facts are what they are. He's going to be a Knick this coming season. He's not being traded. Okay? So we're going to get, and the Knicks are going to make the playoffs. So we're going to see this coming playoff series this year, what he does in the playoffs. Is he going to go off? Or is he going to be, dominant defensive guy? Is he going to give us two-way basketball? We expect him to bring some turnovers, right? I mean, that's Julius Randle. He's going to do some turnovers. But is he going to show up? We'll see. But the Fournier-Grimes argument is not an argument. Fournier is not a better basketball player than Quentin Grimes. He doesn't have any more upside. Grimes still has a lot of upside. And Deuce needs to get more minutes. That's what we came down to here. Okay? So go over this video if you need to. All the numbers. Games started. Greater than 40%. Double-figure games. 18 minutes or more. Games they appeared in. Missed games. 80% from the free throw line or better. And you look at the numbers yourself. It's Grimes and Deuce, y'all. And I'm glad we drafted him. Y'all have a good Thursday. Shalom.